An aspect of A-level AQA business studies that students find really challenging is the interpretation of financial statements. This mainly occurs on the Buzz 3 exam. To interpret financial statements, we need to use the AQA list, formulas for financial ratios, and this is given to students on the inside cover of the Buzz 3 exam. First thing we need to look at is the liquidity of the business. Liquidity measures the business's ability to pay its bills. It's a measure of the cash flow of the business. The two ratios that we will use to measure liquidity are the current ratio and the asset test ratio ATR. The current ratio compares current assets with current liabilities. Current assets includes cash the business holds, bank balances, value of stock the business holds, and debtors. Current liabilities are bills that the business needs to pay and needs to pay quite quickly, for example to pay its suppliers. On the AQA list, this is expressed as a ratio, current assets to current liabilities. However, it's often easier to think of it as a little formula like this. To work out the current ratio, we divide the current assets by the current liabilities. The answer is expressed as a ratio 2:1. So for example, if the answer to this little formula was 2, this means that we have a ratio of 2:1, twice as many current assets as current liabilities. The second liquidity ratio that we need to use is the asset test ratio. This differs in that we are comparing the liquid assets of the business to the current liabilities. The liquid assets are measured by current assets minus the value of stocks or inventories held by the business. Once again, this is expressed as a ratio. Students often find it easier to do a formula like this when we compare current assets minus stock divided by current liabilities. Once more, the answer is a ratio, something to 1. If the answer of this little sum was 1:1, it would mean the business has got as many liquid assets as it has liabilities. This is a more stringent test than the current ratio because it assumes that the business may not be able to sell its stocks. Even if the business cannot sell its stocks, it will still have a ratio of 1:1. It is generally accepted that good current ratio would be 2:1 and a good asset test ratio is 1:1. In reality, a lot of businesses have ratios which is much lower than that, but the ratio of 2:1 and 1:1 gives us a benchmark at which to assess the liquidity of businesses.